Hi, it's Paul Banis of GreatDad.com, and thank you very much for joining either the podcast or the YouTube version of the podcast. I'd really appreciate it if you took just a second to subscribe either on your podcast app or in YouTube. It doesn't really do anything. It's not going to send you any emails. It's just going to show up more often on your feed, and it does me a lot of good in terms of getting more exposure for this work I do to support dads. I'd also like to invite you to come to my page, GreatDad.com/go, if you'd like to discuss more about any of the issues that we are covering within the podcast, especially if there's any way I can help you to be a sounding board in your own struggles to be a dad and to be there for your family. So take a look at that. It also includes a link to my course on gratitude, where at GreatDad.com/gratitude with a offer to take that course for free. So see you in a second. Hey, it's Paul Banis at GreatDad.com, and I'm here doing my weekly series talking to fathers about modern fatherhood. And I've got a great guest today, a relationship expert and also a parenting mentor helper, Anil Gupta, who likes to call himself the love doctor. So welcome, Anil.
Hey, thank you, Paul. I'm so excited to share some of my knowledge, which will I know impact your listeners and your audience.
Yeah, well, thank you because I do this mostly just to support fathers and make sure that they're thinking about their relationship with their kids and with their family. So I really want to dig in on what you know about relationship from your work, about what is the modern state of relationships with all the distractions and all the crazy stuff going on. I mean, between pornography and online temptation, all the rest. What to you are the biggest trends right now in the way people look at relationships or how relationships are evolving?
So as fathers and go, the biggest issue I've noticed is this, that there's a big disparity between the relationship with the parents and the kids. A lot of the kids nowadays are enabled and entitled. As you know, in my generation and your generation, Paul, we went through adversity and that made us grow. So a lot of parents decided they don't want their children to go through what they went through, so they make life easy for the kids. So then
Yeah.
the kids are enabled and entitled. They don't know how to handle adversity. They don't know how to handle communication, relationships, and that causes a big issue because the parents saying, "When I was your age, I used to do this, 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 and this," but the kids say, "Well, I'm going to inherit it all. You're looking after me. I'm on an easy target. I'm living at home. Everything's paid for." So that's one of the biggest issues. And also the other one is distraction. There's so many distractions in life. I just recently fractured
Oh,
my wrist, and I realized that I was running around doing things that I don't need to do. So
oh,
it's a blessing and it's a curse, And so we have to slow down to go faster and focus on the big things. The big things are relationships and health. It's
mhm.
not TikTok, it's not Facebook, it's not Instagram. Focus on you being the best version of you. Focus on the people that you love. Focus on your health,
Mhm.
and nothing else is important.
Mhm. Okay. Uh, Uh, so what does that, I guess, what does that mean concretely? Well, I guess what you were saying earlier about the fact that we've given our kids too easy a life. I often wonder whether that's a high class problem, or do you think that's across the board, across all socioeconomic groups, that people are letting kids have a pass in general, from parents to educators and everybody on down, or is it a really a high class problem that kids are a little bit taking?
But I think it's a big problem. Even at schools and universities, you participate, you get a medal. In my day, you had to earn it. So I
Right.
think that there's a combination of things. But the number one thing is this: you're responsible for your own happiness. You're responsible for your own joy. You're responsible for your own situation. So let me give you an example. I've developed something called the happiness score.
Hmm.
So 25th of August, around 8 a.m., I was playing pickleball. I was pretty happy. I was winning. I had great partners, enjoying life. And The formula for happiness is this. Happiness is equal to G times G times G. The first G is give. Your
Hmm.
time, your energy, your love, your commitment, your joy, your gift, your money. Give it away without wanting anything in return. The second G is you have to be grateful for what you have
Hmm.
and not focus on what you don't have. And the third G is you have to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. Now, at 8:30 in the morning, my score was 999, which is 729. Okay.
Okay.
At about 9 a.m.,
But
it
these
was
are
one.
one out of 10, one through 10 scores you're giving yourself
Yeah.
for each one and
At
multiplying.
about 9 a.m., it went down to 111
Hmm.
because I slipped and fell. Not only did I fall, but I fell the most awkward way. I smashed my left wrist in 9 places,
Hmm.
dislocated it, and I looked at it and I thought, that's not my wrist. It
All
was
right.
incredibly painful. So my score went from 729 down to 1. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
Then within 10 seconds, my score went from 1 to a 9 because I was filled with gratitude. Do you know why I was grateful, Paul?
Hmm.
It was
You
my
saw the other
left
one.
hand.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I'm right-handed.
Right.
I could still play pickleball, thank God. Okay. Then I asked myself, okay, so gratitude is 9. What's my give and what's my grow? It's 1 and 1. How could I give? So I thanked the people around me, the paramedics, the people who, wanted to take me to the hospital, the ambulance people, the police people, the firemen, the friends who stood by me and made sure I was okay.
Sure.
So I started thanking them all, and then my score went up to a 5. Then I thought, oh, I need to grow here because how am I going to handle this? I love pickleball. I play 4 hours a day, and I said,
Wow.
Anil, you're going to get back. You need to grow. You need to let some stuff go. You've got to start, because I was beating myself up. Why was I so stupid? Why didn't I do that? Oh my God. And this. So I started to grow and I just focus on the good stuff and what I need to let go of. Who do I need to forgive? I need to forgive myself. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been my head. It could have been my right hand. So my
Yeah.
score went up to 5. So from 729 to 1 to 9 to I can't work this out. 25 times 9,
Right.
which is
I got you.
225 actually. Okay.
Right.
So by you knowing the formula, you all you have to do is work on the lowest G. You get some bad news, you failed an exam or something happens in life and you don't feel so happy. The reason is your emotional part of growth has dropped. So you just have to work on that. So if constantly work on the lowest G, it's a game changer.
Hmm. So do you advise people to keep that formula always in their mind and be thinking as things happen, somebody cuts you off in traffic or all of the daily things from really small problems to big problems that they keep that formula in their mind and focus on those three elements?
Yeah, really, and it's really a tool that they can have access to whenever life throws them a curveball. You don't have to have it constantly in your head, but when something happens, you know what? I have a tool for this. You pick this tool out of your toolbox. You don't have to constantly think about it, but occasionally when it comes up in your head, say, you know what? The formula is this. What haven't I done recently? Oh, you know what? I haven't given. Let me step that up.
Hmm.
So it's a really powerful tool. And the beautiful thing about it gives you clarity and it removes the clutter and it removes the
Yeah.
distractions.
Yeah.
You get to choose.
Okay. And how do you use this in terms of talking to parents about their relationship with their kids, or is there a way that parents could transmit this tool to kids other than just telling them the same story and the same formula to make that
Well,
makes it meaningful to them versus another lecture from mom and dad?
I'm not a big fan of lectures, but I would give them an example. I would say, son, this is what happened to me today. My score went down to here. This is what I did. And so a way to really connect with your kids is this. It's a beautiful exercise. So we would sit around the dinner table I would ask my wife this question: honey, what have you done today that you were not thanked for? And she would say, I cooked this meal, no one thanked me. So I would thank her. My wife, my son would thank her. My daughter would thank her.
Right.
I would ask the same question to my son, to my daughter, and I would ask the same question to me. Next question is, what act of kindness did you see today? I would ask my wife, my son, my daughter, me. Next question is, what act of kindness did you perform today? My son, my wife, my daughter, me. Then I would ask, what are you grateful for today? My wife, my son, my daughter, me. The next question is, what was funny, exciting, comical, fun, joyous about today? Not was there anything, what was?
Yeah. Yeah.
They have to answer positively. So my wife, my son, my daughter, me. Next question is there anything on your mind? So one day my daughter said, Dad, I'm having a problem at school. I said, great. She said, Dad, what's great about it? You don't even know what the problem is. But honey, whatever it is, we'll find a solution. There's always a way.
Hmm.
And I keep on repeating that every time a problem comes. So she feels confident that, oh, there's a problem, we can fix it. There's always a way. And the last question is anything you'd like to talk about? Okay, now, Paul, the best part of this exercise is this. My son, who was 9 at the time, would be in charge of the exercise next day.
Okay.
Then my daughter. So if he's in charge, he has to be respectful. He has to be a leader. He has to have confidence. He develops public speaking skills. Level of awareness rises because they're all looking for acts of kindness to perform and to observe. They're looking for things to be grateful for. But the beautiful thing about this exercise, it allows authentic communication. And if one day my daughter says, Dad, I'm worried about this, it's better that they come to you. And I say
Certainly.
to them, look, if anything bad ever happens, no matter how bad it is, come and tell mum and dad. We're there to protect you, guide you, nurture you. And there is no one more vested in your happiness than us.
Hmm.
So let them feel confident that they can trust their parents and the parents aren't going to chastise them
Yep.
continuously. They might chastise them for 10 seconds, but that's it.
So
That's
how were you able to integrate? That sounds like a lot of questions, especially in a family of four. Did that devour the entire dinner hour in those with
it
those?
doesn't take long. Maybe takes 10, 12 minutes. It
Uh,
doesn't take long. I've had 2.5-year-olds tugging at their dad's tails saying, Dad, can we play that game? Can we play that game? Because you have to gamify it. It's not something really serious.
uh,
Uh, and another thing, Paul, is when you pick up your kids, never, ever, ever ask, how was your day?
yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, this is what I recommend all my coaching clients. You put on loud music that the kid loves, wind down the windows, roll in, and as soon as your kid gets in the car, you do this.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. All his friends say, "Oh, your mum's so cool, your dad's so cool." Because as soon as you ask him, "How was your day?" he's being interrogated. He
Right.
doesn't want to let anyone know. He wants to chill.
Right.
But if you a few minutes later say, "Hey, what was great about today?" and then let him bring it up.
Right.
And then occasionally say, son, I love you. You're my favorite son. What would you do? What would you like to do right now? And he said, Dad, I would love pizza. I love ice cream. Okay, let's go. You're building that bond. It makes all the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a rule for you? Is trying to find that connection continuously with your kids and striving for that? Because I find that keeping that as a mantra in the back of my mind is really valuable. Is like every interaction should be striving for connection rather than, making a lesson or making a point or repeating some other platitude.
Well, I still say things that they consider lecturing, but that's okay. My intent is pure. We can never get it right, but it's not just about the kids. Building rapport with your friends, with the people that you work with your clients. It just gives you a better quality of life.
Hmm. Hmm. And going back, you talk. I know you like to talk about the biggest parenting mistake. Is the biggest parenting mistake give like spoiling your kids or letting them off the hook too often, or is there something else that you have in mind that's the biggest parenting mistake?
Okay, so, Paul, do you have a sense of humor?
I like to think so.
All right. The biggest parenting mistake is this: it's having kids. See, if you didn't have kids, you'd have no parenting mistakes.
There you go.
Yeah. So the biggest parenting mistake is this: we as adults expect the child to come into our world
Hmm.
to understand adulthood. They're never going to do that. You can't say to your kids, when I was your age, I had 3 paper rounds. I would walk to school in the snow. I would, you know, do this and this. They don't want to know that. The things that they're facing are totally different to what we're
Right,
facing.
right,
So we need to be sitting next to them, not opposing them, and find out, what are they worried about? What are they concerned about? Who's their best friend? Who's their uh, best sports athlete? What's their favorite thing to do? What are they great at? And then you get to know them. You get to know what they're fearful of. And then they become confidants. And then they will come to you. You can talk to them. Lecturing them doesn't make any difference because they just turn off. And then occasionally say, son, there's a big concert coming into town in 4 weeks' time. I bought you 2 tickets, top tier tickets. I want you to take a friend. I said, Dad, what? And what do you think his friend is going to say about you? Yeah. Oh my God, your dad's amazing.
uh-huh.
Yeah. But this isn't in order to, get into his favor, but it's an amazing thing to do.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's communication. It's all about communication and tone. Be very careful the tone you use with your kids
Yeah,
and with your wife, with your partner.
yeah. Well, I find a lot of that is, I mean, a lot of that is, it's kind of a flywheel effect, is getting to know your kids better than, like you say, how was your day? But knowing who their friends are, knowing what the things that they like, actively listening, trying to understand who they are, not who they are as your child, but who they are as a separate person. And that kind of just keeps on going. The relationship gets deeper. Back to the point about connection, establishing connection, building on that connection. Uh, are there other things that you do with them to? I guess I'm thinking like how you recognize those opportunities for connection, because I think a lot of dads struggle with the fact that they don't know when to go deeper, or they're self-conscious about going deeper, or they have problems with intimacy and showing affection. There are all those challenges that men in general have that maybe women are a little bit better at in general. Are there any tips
Yeah.
that you have there?
So yeah, it really is about you showing up and you being vulnerable too.
Hmm.
And saying, a great thing you can say if you have a daughter, say, hey, can I ask you a question? What is it, Dad? What is it I do that annoys you? How could I be a better father to you? How could I
Uh-huh.
show up differently? That's being vulnerable, but it gives them a sense, oh, my dad's asking me, he's respecting me, he's honoring me, he's listening to me. And they might say to you, oh, Dad, I wish you wouldn't do this. I wish you wouldn't text and drive. Oh, wow, I do that? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for telling me. Because we do things we may not notice, but they will notice. One day, I have a very high level of integrity, Paul. My son came up to me and said, Dad, you lied to me. What are you talking about, son? I have a very high level of integrity. He said, Dad, would you like me to tell you? I said, yeah, tell me, please. He said, Dad, you said you would play with me in half an hour. You took over an hour. I could have said, don't you know who I am? I got these people waiting for me. I'm saving these people's relationship. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, he's right. I never thought that was out of integrity,
Right.
but it was. So now or then, I'm a lot more careful what I say. And that
Mhm.
was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Really was.
Yeah. I like, yeah, I can see how that,
Yeah.
for what we might consider of like, I was just a half an hour late. To them, it was like, no, that, you told me, you made a promise, and
You
you told me
lied.
promises are, sacrosanct.
Yeah,
So I
we
guess
do.
that, I do a lot of these podcasts, and I like hear so many great pieces of wisdom, and certainly you've got some really great ideas here that are different than things that I've heard before, or different approaches. I think the challenge that a lot of men have, and parents have in general, is that it's really hard to keep this top of mind and do the right thing in the moment. Unless you're steeped in it all the time, you're, constantly reading parenting books and reminding yourself or using some sort of tool to always keep this stuff in top of mind, you get distracted by, the emergency work call or the fact that you're not feeling particularly great about yourself and you don't have time to be vulnerable to your child or have that deeper conversation. When you're working with parents, how do you help them, I guess, versus reacting to like how I should have done it in my conversation or my problem that I just experienced yesterday, but how do you help them keep these concepts top of mind in their everyday life given all the other distractions?
Okay.
I struggle with that.
So yeah, so I'll give you a breakthrough right now, Paul. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So if I said to you, yeah, say you're a coaching client, Paul, would you rip off your right shoulder knowing you would bleed to death in 4 seconds and give it to me?
Probably not.
No. Paul, answer the question. Would you? It's a hell no, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a hell no. You're a nice guy. Nice guys always say that. Okay, so it's a rule that you have. It's a good rule. Keep it. Okay. Now, Paul, what if you had the same rule for your happiness?
Would I give
Under
you
no
my
circumstance,
happiness?
yeah, under no circumstance will I give you my happiness. You cut me up in the middle of the road. I'm not going to give you my happiness.
Right.
I'm going to get upset.
Right.
How would that change your life?
Okay. So so are you saying that you're trying to get people to think like every time they have an happiness impulse, consider that equation of giving away your happiness rather than giving in to your anger?
Yeah, so rather than getting upset, you say, I have a rule. I will not get upset. I'm not going to give my joy away.
Right.
So then you don't react, you can respond.
Right. Right.
Now, the other thing, it's all about awareness. Awareness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you action.
Yeah.
Action gives you results. Results gives you momentum, which gives you everything. So these are all muscles. You've got to develop that muscle. And if you said to yourself, okay, I made a commitment to be the best dad ever. When my child was born, I made that commitment. What is it I need to do right now to be a better father, a better son, a better spouse? And by you asking better questions, you'll get better answers. And it's just a muscle. It's just practice, 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 and it gets easier and easier and easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people talk about using your kids or your spouse, even when they're driving you crazy, but you using them as your teacher.
Yeah, and there's another thing I teach is reframing. So my son he still is, bless him, very messy. I'd go in his bedroom, his clothes everywhere, in the bathroom, clothes and contact lenses everywhere.
Yeah.
And I used to get upset. Then, Paul, one day I was watching a movie. In the movie, this child, the son got killed.
Hmm.
And I thought to myself, what if that was my son?
Yeah.
Would I complain about the clothes on the floor,
Right.
the contact lenses in the sink? I said, no. So I reframed it. Every time I see that, oh my God, my son is at home. How blessed am I?
Right.
It's the same circumstance, but by just changing the meaning and reframing it, we can have a different experience.
Yeah.
You know, your child spills milk. Don't get upset. Say, hey, let me spill some milk. Make it a game. It's not, it doesn't matter. It's not that big of a thing.
So the dichotomy there, though, is circling back to the beginning of our conversation, is a lot of parents worry that then they're letting their kids off the hook all the time. They're not imposing their will. They're not being strict enough on keeping they're not nagging them all the time. Therefore, they must be a weak parent and a too permissive parent, and then creating this other problem by being too much of a nice guy. So how do you square that circle?
It's not that you're letting them win or you're being a nice guy. It's just you need a different methodology in having that conversation with them.
Yeah. Okay.
If say, hey, honey, I just want to, get an opinion. What if I had all my clothes lying around like that? How would you feel? What would people think? And if you do that here, do you not think you would do it in other areas of your life? What if you can't find things? And if you want to continue doing this, as long as you do it in your domain, and as long as you keep it clean, we don't want you eating and having cockroaches and rodents and stuff like that coming in. But if you would take my opinion, it would take you less than 2 minutes to tidy this up, and your mind will be much clearer. Life, the more clutter you have in life, the more difficult your life will be.
Hmm.
So I trust you and I believe in you and I respect you. Whatever decision you make, I'm happy with.
Right.
Okay. So pick your battles. We had a lines of demarcation. There is no argument. I will never ever sway from this. You always put your safety belt on. You never drink and drive. Never.
Right.
You
Right.
never take drugs ever. You don't take drugs and drive. You don't get into a car that someone has been drinking or driving, or
Right.
you're not sure. You don't get into a car when there's many people in the car who will distract the driver.
Right.
They're lines of demarcation. They're the important stuff. You never hurt anyone. You never abuse anyone. You never do this. You never do that, ever.
Yeah. Right.
So they're the important stuff. We will not argue with that. So they know that. And one day my daughter was invited into a car and she said no. She didn't have to think about it. And it crashed. No one was hurt, but it could have been, you never know. So, pick the battles and ask yourself, how could I approach it differently? In our days, if my dad said, do this, I would do it
Right. Right. Right.
immediately.
Right.
But we can't expect that from our children. If you do, then you're going to have adolescent behavior. We never had adolescent behavior with our kids, not once. And the other big thing, Paul, is this. The reason I want to know who his friends are, because I want to vet them.
Yeah.
I will not let my kids hang out with no-gooders, people who've got bad intent. And I want
Yeah.
to look at their parents too. I
Well,
see
yeah.
some of the parents, the way they speak to some of the kids, the way we speak to their parents. My daughter answered me back once, and I immediately knew which kid it was. I said, "Honey, you're not going to spend time with them anymore." And you
Yeah.
nip it in the bud.
I used to call the parents, for sleepovers, or whatever, and have a personal conversation with the parents and get a feel for who they were, and the kids who were hanging out the most with my kids. I'd intentionally meet the parents and say, we should know each other in case anything ever happens. There is a disaster. We don't want that to be our first call. And I remember my daughter would complain about it. And then later on, when she's 4 years older than my son, later on, my son complained to her about, the fact that I was doing the same thing. And she sold, she sold him on why daddy does that, because daddy loves you and daddy worries about you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It may seem really uncool, and maybe that is embarrassing, but it's done for the right reasons, not to follow you around, but because, we're lucky we're in a family where people care. So I think that maybe is a lesson that's learned over time and is appreciated over time, but harder to sell in the beginning. But I like what you said
Well,
about when these things come up. Like you've got this two lenses, I guess. One is like not letting yourself, like you said, about not allowing your happiness to be stolen because of contact lenses on the counter, or clothes strewn about, and then also giving them the responsibility for their domain. They have that room, and if that room is a total mess, absent cockroaches, I mean, that's up to them. They can just choose to live like that. You can tell them the consequences if they let that seep into all the aspects of their life, but you're having a conversation that, first of all, you're not triggered by and not volatile about, and then you're also showing that you have respect for their choices, even though they might not be your choices.
yeah. And then, if it's really messy, you can say, "Hey, son, let, let's just clean this up. I'll help you, and let's time it." And just say, "How does it feel now?" Just have a look. And then experientially they will feel differently, and they don't feel that you're jumping on them, you're working with them and you're participating, and they'll feel a lot more comfortable, because one day there are times you're going to have to step in, and they will know that, hey, my dad's stepping in, this is serious, I'm going to listen to him.
Hmm. Yeah.
But if you're
Uh,
always jumping on them, they're going to cry wolf.
yeah. Wait, before we close, I did want to ask you about your newsletter because you send out a newsletter or a tip every day. What was your intention behind that? Is it to keep some of these principles top of mind for people every day?
Well, actually, it's an inspirational email. So it'll have a quote from Gandhi or somebody else, so that, we never know what people are going through. There might be something you need to hear today.
Yeah,
So I thought, why not send something to anybody, and you can all get this for free, um, so that you can share that with someone else. Say you might know someone who could benefit from that, and I just felt good doing it.
yeah, yeah. That's your thanks. That's your thanks out to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, great. It's been a really fun chatting with you. People can find you at meetanil.com, right? We'll put
That's
that
correct. And
in
you'll
the show
find a
notes.
lot of free resources there, some free videos, great content, and you get access to my book for free as well.
Okay, great. So Anil Gupta at meetanil.com. You call yourself the love doctor. I love talking with you today.
My pleasure. And
Okay.
Paul, thank you for the work you do. It's a beautiful thing because we never know what other people are going through. So your podcast could change so many lives so quickly. So thank you.
Yep. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Paul Bance with GreatDad.com. You can find my coaching offers at GreatDad.com/go, including a course about gratitude, which one of the three G's, which I also agree is just a game changer in terms of how you interpret the world around you. Okay. Take care. Till next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Remember,
Okay, bye.
strong family starts with you.